That's right. The sun has risen, depending on where you are. The sun is out. The sun has risen. The last I checked, our beautiful Golden Dome still stands where it's been for a very long time. Welcome in, folks. It is indeed a Work It Out Wednesday. Work It Out Wednesday, the ultimate Work It Out Wednesday. I'm grasping for answers. Everybody's grasping for answers. There doesn't seem to be any easy ones. How did we get here? Why are we here? Is a lot easier to debate and talk about than the path out. And that's where this gets tough. That's where I'm stuck. What is the path out of this? We were hopeful. We were trending in the right direction, incremental steps, getting better, a little by little each week, getting better. That all came crashing down. You don't have that incremental improvement. So it's kind of two things. How did we get here? Why are we here? How do you get out? And then when you talk about how to get out, there's short-term and long-term. I know the popular thing to say now is, bye-bye, Tommy. Bye-bye, Tommy. Last link to the BK era, the biggest part of the program holding us back, all that. That doesn't help us these rest of these games this year. We could debate whether that's right or wrong, and that's what's going to happen, and that is the problem or not. We could debate it all week. But what do we do now? Because I don't think there's any chance you're going to tune in a couple weeks and Marcus is going to go, guess what? Tommy wasn't getting it done. I don't care if he went here. He's out of here. What the heck can you do this week to not play down to another opponent? So it's frustrating. There's a lot going on. So I am happy to listen to your frustrations about what happened last week still, because I feel bad we went 3 hours and I didn't go fast enough with people to get to everybody. We could do that. But I'm also going to ask you, if you call mad like that, how do we get out? You got to come up with a couple solutions, even if they're little, short term, whatever. This is not just execution. I can't allow that. I love Marcus. He said it 27 times. It's more than just execution. When you're doing it against Ohio State, maybe you could say execution. You're playing better, guys. It's harder to do what we want to do. But when it's Marshall and Stanford, there's a different issue there. There's something that's not connecting, guys. There's something that isn't getting through. Something's messed up. It's the only answer. Okay, so let's get through the introductions. We're going to welcome everybody here. We have phones already. I'm going to get to the phones. As soon as people call, I'm going to get to them. And there's a few already. So I'm going to do my introduction. We're going to get to the people, and then we'll come back to some stuff I wanted to say. I don't want to make people wait today. All right, so obviously, if you're here, you know YouTube. Hit subscribe. Appreciate it very much. Thumbs up helps as well, more than you think. If you're already in the chat, take a second, do the thumbs up. Notifications on. You be alerted every time there's a new episode, something we got to break down, good or bad. Good or bad. I wish there was some good stuff once in a while on the plus end. Emails, always irish@gmail.com. Twitter, at Always Irish Inc. Or just search Always Irish. Audio only. You can find the shorter programs anywhere. Call in line 312-900-8815. It's open for you, folks. It is a Work It Out Wednesday. So let's welcome the people here, then get right to the phone lines. I'm not going to make you guys wait. V1 Rotate. Always good seeing you here. $4.99 for the lines. Keep the show going. Telling you, man, they charge me for this line. Chicago prices for a 312 Chicago number. Oh, man. Drunk Vigo, it just says mentally ill, and I had to read back to the see if it connected to another message or if it just described all of us. Jaded, welcome. Hey, Jaded, were you not here Monday? People were asking where you were. Thought you were too depressed or something. People were worried about you. Chris Totten, good to see you. Jaded, Deborah Thomas, Terry Moore, Brandon Fry. Has the season started yet? I don't know. I wish it didn't almost. V1 with his that's right. That's good to see. Angela, good morning. Good to see you here, even in trying Notre Dame circumstances. Mikey Poles, what's up? Artie Torres, what's going on? Line jumper, always jumping the line. Kent Jackson, he's got that third-party perspective from Ohio State. He wants us to just suit him up. I think he'll probably play bad on purpose just to make my hairline worse if we did that. Tell you that right now. We are not Marshall. Good morning, always Irish. I like that title. We are not Marshall. Oh, man, that's funny. Mark, what's up? I see you in the calls. Let's get to it. Chief, good to see the Chief here. Connor, Tobias, though, finally. Yeah, Tobias, baby. Can you get another pass or two in the next 6 games? I don't know. You make a big play, get a big spark. Next thing you know, you can only be out there if they give you the perfect setup. You can't force what you want to do. You got to do what they want to do. That's the game we're playing. All right, we're going to go to the phones. I want to give you guys a chance. I'll go back to my notes in between if we get a chance. Okay. Kent says, no, John, I'm playing defense and knocking heads. Let's get Kent one of them gold helmets. Let's go, baby. All right. 612-260-573, 219-618. Those are going to be the first batch. After this super chat, $9.99. I'm so offended. Well, you can offend me with $9.99, and I appreciate it. Cut down the back rotations to 2. Feed estimate the rock off and setting up play action to Mayor take shots to Tobias and Jaden. I asked for solutions short term. Here's a solution short term. Obviously, what you're trying to do on offense isn't working. You have to adjust. I like this plan. Is the way they're using 3 backs, although I like them, the best usage of 3 backs? Are you not getting maximum output, dividing out those carries or touches or catches by 3 than by 2? I also have questions of what plays you're running that are going to go to each of those guys, because they each have slightly differing skill sets. But I have seen a bunch of times where I go, I don't know if I like that play going to that one of the backs. So I understand that. And then I was also mad Estime didn't get a touch till the second quarter last week. I had it in my notes to be all mad about him not being featured more, and then he has another brutal fumble. Now that's 2 that you can't have while we love everything else he does. It's an issue. I don't know what to tell you. It's an issue. But I'm so offended. I appreciate the chat, and you actually came up with a plan. You got to try something. Appreciate it. All right. Phone lines. Dr. John's first, and he's got a lot of work to do. Let's hear it. Good morning.
Good morning, John.
You sound a little down, my friend. Do I need to give you a prescription? You sound a little down.
Well, I am a little down. I'm thinking of Thomas Paine's, I think it was Common Sense. He wrote, "These are the times that try men's souls."
It's not easy.
That's where we are.
Everybody's struggling.
Been here before. We've all been here before. And the thing, we love this. We love Notre Dame football so much that we get our hearts and souls wound up in it. And we all have solutions, but none of us are in the inside circle to know really what the heck's going on in there. And all we can do is look at what's transpired. And I read that, press conference about execution. And the thing that I would love to have some reporter say, Okay, why aren't you executing? And I think you asked that before. And then my question is, if it's the players, then find some other guys. Let's play some of these young kids and see what happens. I mean, I'm looking at a best 6-6 season, and if history repeats itself, we're going to lose another game that we're not supposed to lose. So we're probably going to be 5-7. Let's see what kind of talent we got on the bench. And there are two things that jumped out at me execution wise, and I think we've already dealt with one, which was that very first snap. We got Patterson false start.
It's just a bad look,
one that
John.
Really jumped out to me.
It's a bad look at home.
Yeah.
And then you got the guys looking to the sideline for the play so much that the ball was snapped once, and you had multiple players still looking to the sideline for the altered play call. Those are things that indicate to me it isn't a smooth operation, and it's more than just after the ball's snapped.
Well, I agree. I'm thinking back to it might even have been a touchdown that was called back where Mitchell Evans gets called for illegal receiver downfield. And I don't know who screwed up, whether it was Evans or Tyree, but Tyree had him covered up. He was out on the flank. And so somebody should have been back a yard. Or it was a formation violation somewhere. I don't know.
But these little things gotta be smoothed out by then. And especially at home. It wasn't Ohio State at the Horseshoe and life's moving at you fast. It was a comfortable home game against 1-4 Stanford. And it looked this disjointed. I didn't see this regression coming, and it's jarring that it was this bad and this glaring. And John, let me ask you this. I got a lot of people in the chat saying there were guys open and Pine couldn't hit them. If you looked back, like back off Reese a little bit, there were guys open and he didn't see them or whatever. And then there were guys that dropped the ball. I think it's all an issue. It's not one or the other, the play caller or the execution. It's like there are issues with all of it, and that makes it hard to fix.
I agree. They finally target Merriweather, and he gets the touchdown. I almost came out of my seat when I saw that ball in the air, and he's going for it.
I know.
It was like, my God.
You could feel the entire fan base all yell, finally, all at the same time. Like you could just feel it. Like, and then right afterwards, I get a string of text messages. There we go. This is what we've been begging for. Why can't we get a couple more of those a half? Just a half. Target him, draw something up, give him 2 or 3 balls a half to see what he could do with. It was a spark you needed. We got, and then it feels like we didn't go back to him. And then Reese was talking about, Reese and Freeman. Well, we got him in there when we got the look we want for like 2 plays. It's like, dude, force the look. Force them to react to your 6'5" athletic guy, not the other way around. Good for him, though. Glad to see him catch a ball and that touchdown. Great route, good catch.
Well, and at this stage with what's going on, are there any other kids that you can put in there and they can execute better than what's been executed? Give some of these guys a chance. I don't see any avenue to a bowl game, so let's start giving some kids some snaps and get some more experience in there. What do you got to lose?
See, I really struggle with this angle, John. Here's why. I agree with you. And now that the season's goals are out the window, I look at it as time for development, time for youth movement, time for young guys to make learning mistakes in a season where you're not playing for anything anyways. So in 2 and 3 years, those guys are more developed. They got their learning curve mistakes out of the way in a year where there isn't much on the line the rest of the way from now till the end nationally. That's how I see it. I don't think coaches see it that way. They defer to their older guys, veterans for a reason, guys that started for a reason. My argument would be those are the guys you went with that got us in this position. That upperclassman leadership did not defend our home field. All right? So they lost the deferred respect of your older guys, you're going to get the first crack. You lost that to me. I'm just not sure if the staff operates the same way. Is that just a fan mentality, I guess?
Well, this brings me to, I think, one of the problems Marcus has is he has got to learn to be a head coach and not just a pal of the players. And I don't know, I'm being critical of something. I'm not privy to what's really going on in there, but I think he's going to get some scar tissue this year. That's for sure. But I think, he comes off as such a good guy and the players love him, but as a head coach, you got to make some tough decisions. And if you got to sit some of these guys down that you have a terrific relationship with, you got to do it.
Yeah. I had this discussion last night with a longtime Notre Dame grad, been connected to the program a long time, has a lot of behind the scenes insight. And he was saying the same thing you are. I mean, I don't know what's going on. It's so... John, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This full regression backwards. I did not expect it. Not in that ball game. Not in that moment. I can't believe it.
Well, and I can't believe it. You pointed this out. I went back and I looked at every game, and we did not score a touchdown in any first quarter of this season.
John, I went back to double check before I mentioned it on the air to make sure it was right. And I went through every box score. How is that only an execution problem when the scripted plan you work on all week that you run out there to open a ball game, you haven't been able to score one touchdown off that plan in the first quarter throughout the year? That tells me there's more than execution. It has to be more than an execution problem. You could accidentally score a touchdown in the first quarter in 6 weeks.
You should be able to.
This is
well, you know what the beauty of college football is, we're sitting here at 3-3 and looking like we're gonna, I mean, I'm seriously saying it's probably going to be 5-7. But the beauty of college football is, with these kids, anything can happen.
Hey,
geez, maybe we'll do something we're not expecting to do. I don't know.
I had that conversation last night. I said, everybody's going to count us out. It's going to look terrible, and they'll play Clemson tough all night. It's the most Notre Dame-y thing ever. You watch. They'll have them in a dog fight late in the fourth quarter at home, and then everybody's sucked back in. Like, that would be the full Notre Dame circle, the absolute full circle, and I half expect it just to mess with my brain.
It's crazy. Well, I'm going to turn you loose here. I got one more thing.
Sure.
After I talked to you last Wednesday, I heard the grandfather remark about me becoming your step-grandfather, and I actually talked to my attorney about this, and she has drawn up some papers, but I said I got to explain to him first what he could be getting into, because here's what some of the past history for me with grandchildren. I lose a lot of money playing golf. I'm probably going to lose some today. And I've had to sell 2 of my grandchildren into slavery to pay for those debts. And I think you ought to think about that before you sign any adoption papers, okay? I
will think about that. I'm also going to want to take a big look at your assets there and make sure where things go, over time there. I'm going to have to check in your assets and liabilities and see where we weigh in. And by the way, let's play some golf. I mean, I kind of gave it up a little bit to get more serious about this program the last couple of years. But up till a couple years ago, John, I was down to about a 4 handicap. I could get it around a little bit.
Oh,
I could get it around a little bit.
You were the guys that took my money.
Hey, I get out there and act all nervous, miss putts on the practice green, shank them on the range just to get in your mind, get you to double the bet, and then I get out there and put a little something together for you.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it'll be fun sometime to hook up to do that. I'm down in Gilbert, Arizona right now. I'm going to play some golf at 10 o'clock. So
beautiful.
Hey,
John,
keep it going, buddy. Keep the faith.
John, thank you for the call. Thanks for kind of just even the way your delivery is kind of calms me down. I appreciate that. And you know what I mean? Hit it few and hit it far, my friend.
Okay. Yeah. One more thing. I had texted you this thing about super chat money for every point that goes over the spread. That still holds, but you got a long way to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we go the other way, I'm gonna start owing money. Oh,
hey, that's why I sent you a sympathy $2 the other day.
I appreciate that, man. I need it. Well, thanks a lot, man, and good luck with the golf game. Make some putts, huh?
Okay, hang in there, bud.
All right, thank you.
Keep it going.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
I'm telling you, that guy's all over the place. Arizona, Vermont. He was in Illinois, South Bend. All right, we're going to go 260 next, 573-219-618. I got a couple chats to get to that donated. We are not Marshall. This one's going to be bad. It's just going to be bad. People aren't going to like this. Reality is that Ian Book isn't walking through that door. He's holding a tablet in the NFL. Scheme to your current personnel. If you've been around here a while, you know what I'm going to say to this. I don't even want Ian Book walking through the door. He's not good enough either. He's not. This whole Notre Dame quarterback thing's driving me nuts. Even the best guy we've had recently, I didn't think was good enough to be Notre Dame's quarterback. I'm sorry, I didn't. I need Notre Dame to have a guy you win your biggest games because of. All right? Not you beat a down and out Virginia Tech at home and then I'm supposed to think that Ian Book's awesome. No. Sorry. Even the best guys we've had are not what I'm looking for. I need a higher level of talent to begin with. I do. This whole quarterback thing drives me nuts. It's the University of Notre Dame. You can't convince one high elite potential level guy to be your dude and be the guy that says, I know some of the other talent isn't great. Let me get in there and I'll help get it right. I'm sorry, but Ian Book's not coming back. Good, because he's not good enough either. Give me Drake May. Give me a young Drake May to work with. That's what I'm freaking talking about. And the other thing is, people in the chat are saying, Pine can't make all the throws. He can't see over the line. He's missing open guys. And how can you put that on Reese? Again, let's go full circle. Who was involved in recruiting? Who wanted Buckner and Pine bad? Tommy Reese. You don't want the guy, then you get him. Then we get to say, he's not good enough to run it. Then that's on Reese too. Pine is a Reese guy. He went to go get him. Wanted him. So I can't listen to any complaint. Reese is stuck working with this guy shorter than John. He recruited him. Go get Drake May. 6'5", big body bends. Go get that. Chief, thank you. $199. Appreciate that. Give me Tanner McKee. That guy was like, what was he, 6'6"? John ND isn't getting a Drake May. That's what you need. I'm telling you. All of this would look so much better with an elite quarterback, no matter what. All of it. It's the number one most important individual position in sports. Saban wanted Drew Pine for what? Tackling practice? Andrew Gilmore, $4.99. Appreciate that. With Reese's clear inability to evaluate high school quarterbacks, are you less confident with CJ Carr? Fortunately, that's one that nationally it seems like everybody kind of agrees with, I think. So there's a little more comfort there when you can't compare the level Carr's at recruiting him to Pine. Like, they're not in the same ballpark to begin with. So I feel a little bit better about that. There was another super chat I missed, and then we're going to go to 260. Sorry. I don't want to miss anybody that does money, folks. That's rude. Paul Conley, $5 holler. I feel ticket holders should get their money back. Hey, that's never going to happen, and the cost is just going to go up. So I don't know. 260, let's talk. Good morning.
Good morning, John. How we doing, buddy?
I'm okay. I'm trying to work this out, and I'm trying to go from just anger to solutions so that we could get through this year and then worry about the bigger picture stuff later. And I'm just, it's a struggle. What do you make of this surprising regression out of nowhere?
That's what I'm trying to wrap my brain around as well, is how many players have regressed. And then I would put that onus on the position coaches, to be honest with you. I when we spoke last Friday, I figured it would be an ugly game. I figured Notre Dame would come out on top, but I figured it would be an ugly game because nothing that this Notre Dame team does, it looks fluid. Nothing that it does looks well. It's always just kind of everything just looks hard, difficult, and you're just watching them going, what is going on? Like, why is this so difficult? I know that Tommy Rees is, everyone's whipping boy, which again, look, for me, I don't the guy's not going to, I highly doubt he's back next year. Okay. I'm more upset with what you've been hitting on, which is the lack of QB recruitment, the lack of QB development from a QB position coach than his actual play calling. I'm not saying the play calling has been great or phenomenal.
Yeah.
Where you have to have a QB. Okay. Yep. When you know what this Notre Dame team reminds me of? Iowa. It's Iowa.
Yep.
There's a decent line, a quarterback that can't make all the throws, and oh, by the way, he can't throw the ball deep. Okay, yes, I understand he's not tall enough, can't see, but also people will run him wide open deep. Hit one more deep shot, Notre Dame wins that game. Doesn't look good. Hit one more deep shot, which again he overthrew how many receivers deep because he doesn't have the arm strength. And so when you look at this Notre Dame team, they're Iowa. There's no wide receivers. You got a tight end that will move the chain, but everyone knows on third down the ball is going through their tight end. So you could just bracket them like Stanford did. It's just a mix. So the question that I have, okay, and this is a sincere question, is what offensive coordinator you bringing in right now that's going to take this team with this group of players on offense, okay, and taking it from 23 points a game up to 35? Who are you bringing in?
But you don't think there's 50? You don't think there's 50 other offensive coordinators that can find another score out of what Notre Dame's running out there on offense just by getting different eyes on it? Like, a part of me, why does it look so hard for Notre Dame to move the football? Like, why? It looks like it's pulling teeth just to put a drive with rhythm together. I honestly think a lot of guys could come in there and find different clever ways to get our guys the ball in better space to take advantage of what we have. Does it feel to you like he's trying to run an offense for talent that doesn't match it? Like what he wants it to be versus what we can actually do?
Look, his offensive game plan against Stanford made absolutely no sense.
It played right into what Shaw wanted to do. It looked like he schemed it to perfectly fit what Shaw was preparing for. the way they were bracketing Mayer, like all of it. He got played by Shaw, and I owe Shaw a damn apology. I was over here not liking his face and that smile. He deserved that trophy and that good flight home with the cold drink. You know, that's on me.
Right. No, I completely, again, the play calling in that scheme against Stanford made absolutely no sense. Okay. And the point I'm trying to make is not necessarily to say Tyrese is great or whatever. The point I'm trying to make is who is coming in with this personnel that's going to score 35 points a game? Because, oh, by the way, if you want to compete at the top echelon of college football, you're scoring 35 points a game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you couldn't bring someone else in that could run the score from 23 points a game up to 28, but you're still not going to 35 and you're still not competing against big dogs. That's the point I'm trying to make.
So let me ask this. When you say, you know, I don't think Tommy's going to be here next year, do you mean that like Marcus says this isn't working out? Or do you think Tommy is just kind of sick of everything being extra Notre Dame and he may want a fresh start as an NFL quarterback coach or something? And there's this amicable move where it's pleasant and there's not hard feelings. How would that go? Like in your mind, if you don't think, is that it?
I think it's one of those things where I'm hoping that Freeman looks at this and says, look, we got to get new blood in here. You know, I think that arguably you could also argue on the defense, maybe new blood as well. But the problem is I see where Tommy and his agents probably reaching out to NFL teams right now, you know, looking for the next move. I think even if the offense wasn't the issue, I don't see him being around. I just think I think it's okay. Marcus goes to him. Look, you know, I'm not looking to fire you, but it would make a lot of sense to go find another job. You know, read between the lines. So I think he's gone. Which is fine.
Let me ask this. Did you see the report, and I cannot verify whether it happened or not, the report that Freeman wanted Cutcliffe as an offensive assistant, old head, to be in the building to help Reese along, and Reese pushed back on that and said, I don't need it, and he didn't do it, and now we're in the position we're in. I don't know if that's true or not, but I hear that did come up, and Freeman wanted it to feel more comfortable, have an older guy around that's seen more, and Reese said, I don't need that, and Freeman deferred, and now it kind of blew up on him. I don't know whether that's true or not, but if it is, I find that an interesting wrinkle.
Right. I did not see that report. It's one of those things. If that's the case, and I think it all boils down to this is all on Marcus Freeman. Okay, I'm sorry. It's your job. It's not make friends. Your job is to win football games. Okay, the best coaches, the best managers don't give a damn about being friendly to people. Okay, you win. Guess what? Friends are going to come naturally. And if you're cutting Cutcliffe, and oh, by the way, I've also heard that there's supposed to be a transfer quarterback possibly going in. Was it JT Daniels? I've heard that rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. You are entering a season and you have 0 starts under any quarterback.
Yeah.
You don't take a transfer in the transfer era. Like, oh, by the way, this is where like what in the hell? Oh, I don't want to disrupt the quarterback room.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, there might be competition there.
No, you're right.
Like, we don't want to do that.
You're right. And ultimately, the other thing is this isn't USC type of deal with the transfer situation. Like, that's a Band-Aid. But Notre Dame cannot rely on that. At some point, you're going to have to recruit your own young guy with high upside and develop him the right way and let him grow up in this offense so that after a couple years, he's experienced, he knows what he's looking at, he can make all the plays physically, not limited. Like, I think it's important for the beginning of the Freeman era that if it's Carr, fine. I don't care the name, but there has to be some elite pillar potential in that room. And this constant in and out, and lack of development, it's weighing the entire operation down. It's just obvious.
Yep. That the reason Notre Dame is in the position that they are is because there's not been a quarterback, there has not been wide receivers, And you're in this day and age, college football or just football in general, where you got to get athletes in space. You got to have playmakers on the outside. And that is, I mean, again, the ultimate reason I would want Tommy Rees gone is because where in the hell is the quarterback at? Where in the hell is the QB development? That's the problem. I'm so sick and tired of these NBC broadcasts, which are terrible, by the way, where I see the pictures of Drew Pine when he's 10 years old in a Notre Dame jersey. That's not recruitment, okay? You throw a scholarship at that individual, he's going to go to Notre Dame. He's going to say yes. That's not recruiting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a layup. All right, where is the talent at? That is his room, the QB room, and it's a train wreck. Okay, his play calling has been, but in the scheme has head scratching. But the train wreck that is his QB room.
Yeah. No.
He should be gone.
Well, you're exactly right. Because there's two parts to that. There is what you see on the field, the delivery and the scheme and the execution part, like the on-field. But you are right. My biggest half of the problem starts before we even get to that point. And it's the position, that quarterback room is in perpetually. Notre Dame fans are used to entering every fall camp in mid-August going, I don't know. What's up with the quarterback competition? What are we going to have? Who's it going to be? Is he going to be able to do everything we need? That is not normal. It's normal to us. It is not normal in college football that every single year you come in wondering what you're going to get out of the quarterback. And you never once come in knowing you can build around that guy. He's going to be the reason you win this year. Build it all around him. Notre Dame does it the other way, and it's ass backwards, and it makes it a lot harder to get where you want to go. That's what I see. So you are exactly right, though. There's two issues. The on-field part, but all of that infrastructure in that room, there's something wrong with it. You're right.
Right. And you see it on the field. And so when I look at that scan offense, you know what that says to me is Tommy is not trusting the personnel that is on the field, okay, to make plays. He's not trusting his quarterback to read a defense. So he's going, I will tell you, I got to scheme it in such a way that we can get this person open. And don't worry, Drew, you won't have to read the defense because I've already read it for you. Just throw the ball to X or throw the ball to Y, throw the ball to this. That's what it's just, there's no trust there because there's no development there. I mean, that is so frustrating is the fact that our quarterback, again, that they just can't read defenses. They can't make all the throws. They're there to just essentially hand the ball off and throw the ball 5 to 15 yards. And that is ridiculous at this day and age. So that's why Tommy should go. Is that, again, that's not even like you said, it's not even getting to Saturday. It's the fact that this quarterback room is a train wreck.
Yep.
And you're not winning any football without a quarterback.
Yeah. And again, I feel like we are so used to this that it doesn't get brought up as being a huge problem because we're so used to it year after year after year. And don't you think Freeman's been around a high level winning football enough? He sees this too. Isn't he just covering because he has to publicly? Like he's been around winning football a long time. Isn't he sitting there going, dude, this guy's making me look bad? Like, doesn't he see what we see? He has to, right?
I think that is. I hope so. If not, oh my.
Then you got a whole nother batch of problems.
Yeah, that's I don't even want to go down that road.
Right. So you got to hope he's publicly covering, but behind the scenes he realizes there's a big issue. That's got to be it.
He better.
It has to be it. That has to be it.
I hope. Right. So, but I think that's ultimately where it lies. Is where look, okay. Like get done with this glamour. Like I'm talking about Freeman. Okay, we had the video of him coming into the locker room, all the players going nuts. You got the Vegas video. You have all that. He's got a great smile. He's got a great physique. He's always, happy-go-lucky. Life is great. But here's what I'm gonna tell you: having played, all right, football long enough in the collegiate level, what have you, the best coaches that I've ever been around hold players accountable. There's accountability. They don't make excuses. They hold their coaches accountable. Okay. And so I'm hoping that's what's going on. I don't know, but I could tell you the thing that really stands out to me on this team is the complete lack of leadership. Like their captains, are making stupid boneheaded mistakes over and over again.
Yep.
It's just, I'm just kind of done with this group. They need to move on. I know they won't. They're going to continue to play them. It's kind of, but why in the hell are some of these players still seeing the field? They're not any good. They've been like the Houston Griffins of the world. Hasn't done anything in 5 years. He's still on the field. Why is he there? I don't understand this. Like, why are we still playing some of these people?
Yeah.
It just does not make any sense to me.
The way I looked at it is a part of being a part of like an upperclassman leadership group, whether you're labeled a captain or just an upperclassman who've been around, is one of your inherent jobs, if you're in that group, is you're a culture protector. Like that is your job if you're an older guy that's been around. And it's one of your most important jobs, is to make sure the younger guys and everybody knows what's expected of you. And I feel like that applies extra at Notre Dame Stadium at your home field. And even Kelly, I have my issues with him on the top end results. He ended up guarding our home field pretty well. The fact that this group let that fold with little pushback more than once tells me I can't go to you for leadership. If you did, this would have never happened, not only once, but definitely twice. So guess what? I want some young guys that want to fight out there then. Give me that.
Yep. When I heard, I believe it was Patterson after the Marshall game.
573-618. Next two up, by the way. Sorry, go ahead. 573-618.
Yes. Throw him on the ground. Whatever. I understand the frustration. I get that. Okay, you better be pissed off. If not, then there's even, again, that goes to a deeper problem that you don't want to get into. But that just kind of speaks value. That tells me what that leadership looks like. Okay, that's the type of stuff that you do in the locker room. You then go out the next week of practice, and then you lead. You show that frustration. You force. Be your position group. You're showing up even earlier to practice. You're doing more stuff. You know what I mean? Like you don't show that on the field in front of everyone to see it. That again, it's the leadership on the team is not there. It's lacking. And I pray it's not from Marcus, where it's like it just seems like maybe he's a little too hands off. He's kind of like, okay, you do your job, and I'm just gonna, I'll make sure stuff is right. He's got to learn how to win, man. That's the thing. It's like we maybe going into the season, we just took that element for granted. And winning isn't just calling X's and O's on Saturday. It's the making sure your coaches are ready to go, making sure that they understand the scheme, the players understand the scheme, being able to filter out practice Hall of Famers, where there's some players that are just great in practice but terrible in the game. That type of thing. Like, you have to be able to learn how to win, and that's Marcus Freeman. And right now, this team, you can tell they don't understand that winning mentality, and it's bleeding through. And so that is concerning. It's the leadership is just needs an overhaul, man. Do you think that I've been sitting on this the last day or so? We all wanted a smoother transition, and not a drop back from Kelly, but just take it from there and move straight forward. That obviously has not happened. Now I'm looking at this as more of a calibration year for Marcus to be able to gauge all of the big picture items you and I just mentioned. And maybe I underestimated that process or how hard it could be, or whatever, because this is clearly a calibration year. And you got to hope Marcus feels his way through some of those issues you were talking about. When to be Mr. Nice Guy, when to be mean, when to light into your staff and when to support them. All of that. Maybe it's a calibration. And after this year, a lot of things change because Marcus goes, all right, I wanted to get a test of where this was. Now I saw, and now I know I need to make these corrections. Are you open to that? Maybe this is just that calibration measuring year, and then he makes adjustments from there? I hope he makes adjustments. Because if he's satisfied with this, he has to. So I mean, the way I look at it is they're going to get a new offensive coordinator. Maybe that person will also be the QB coach, but they definitely need some sort of QB development in this. I'm fine with some of these position coaches. I'm a little bit leery of. Honestly, the only coach that I would say their job is safe. The name escapes me. It's the special teams coach, because special teams have actually been playing pretty decent this year.
Yeah. You know what? Go figure. I complain about special teams every year. And then now that ours are decent, there's so many other problems. I haven't even been able to be glad about it. That's just the way it goes here.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome to Notre Dame football.
Yeah.
But it's even defense hasn't been great. I mean, it's just something that seems amiss. It's just off. I mean, maybe it's just taking games for granted, where it's like, oh, this is Stanford, and we'll just roll out the same game plans that we always have. And this our talent will take over, or I don't know. But I find they got to be able to make some changes. Marcus Freeman, you're the head coach, buddy.
Yeah.
You got to be able to make these tough decisions. That's why you're going to pay millions and millions.
Well, the reality is, if you're going down, you go down with your guys doing it your way. I am not going to let some of this drag me down because I'm deflecting to the last regime's Aaron guy since he was 17 years old in the program. Like, I'm not doing that. So Marcus has to protect his own reputation and this program, and he might have to hurt some feelings and have some uncomfortable talks with some of his friends. Him, Freeman, and Mayer are the two guys that looked adequately distraught to me after this ball game. When I rewatched the film, those two looked like they realized the gravity that something really bad that couldn't happen just happened. And they both looked totally whacked out, and it gave me a little comfort. Those are the two guys I noticed looked distraught. Right.
And I'm hoping, kind of moving to this game against UNLV. Look, I'm hoping for a youth movement. I mean, I doubt that it's going to get to the level that I would like to see it. But I'm hoping that you start to play more. Why? I mean, because you got nothing going. We're going for the Cheez-It Bowl this year, baby.
Oh my God.
That type of stuff. So youth movement, but just look. How about simple things? Let's just do simple things. Just start with simple things. Go against your tendencies. Know your tendencies. Defense. How about we stop with the double A gap linebacker blitz? Okay. Stop sending Maris Leofow. He never hits home. He's a human magnet.
Yep.
Okay. How about get more athletic with the linebackers? Okay. Maybe not blitz the A gap. Maybe send them off the edge. I don't know. Something different.
Try something else that hasn't burned you every time you do it.
That isn't on film either.
Wild idea.
Because I mean, everyone.
Wild idea.
How about on third down and 18? Instead of dropping the cornerbacks and safeties back 20 yards and your linebackers back 10, because, oh, by the way, in modern day football, there's things called analytics and people go for it on fourth and short. How about we blitz? How about we send a blitz there and see if the quarterback starts to freak out and maybe causing a turnover? Those things actually happen in football. Defense creates turnovers. It's crazy. How about on the offensive side of the ball? Okay. How about stop going with the 13 personnel and spread the defense out. Get people flanked. Get them out of the box.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can actually run the damn ball.
But see, but why are you the one coming up with all of these little structural changes that can open things up? Why are you coming up with these so easily? But then I'm sure that against UNLV, we're going to see the same thing we did. They just hope it works better. Like, it's driving me nuts.
I can't answer that.
No
idea.
But you
I have no idea.
I started the show asking for some reasonable solutions, not fire everybody, reasonable. And then you come up with reasonable little changes to the offense that could give us more space to operate. I just don't know why we're the ones coming up with it.
Right. And here's a wild idea. This is also going to blow your mind. on offense. On third down, okay, let's throw the ball to someone else besides Mayer. Like, here's an idea. How about we use Mayer as a schemer so we can have him going out on different routes, but the whole point is maybe not necessarily throwing the ball, but open up someone behind him.
No. You know what it is? I know what that is. That is Reese and Kelly forcing it in Pine's brain to just take that pass and only look there and defer to a middle check down. Like, I think he's defaulting that it's Mayer. That's where I'm going, Mayer. It's so ingrained in his mind. There are so many little unique, creative little wrinkles that could open things up, and they're not hard to scheme. I don't understand it. So what happens this week? It's UNLV. Do you think it looks the same, but we get by and win in front of a less than enthusiastic home crowd? And then we're kind of blah, but we didn't lose. Like, what do you see this week? Let's bring it full circle. Yeah, exactly.
What do I see?
Yeah, exactly.
Man. You know what? I pray that Notre Dame comes out actually fired up. Just the hair on fire, reckless abandon. They actually score points in the first quarter. I know, wild.
It'd be great.
Yeah. I think what you're going to see is, oh man, I think it's just going to be. Until I see it, I can't believe it. It's kind of how I operate. So I think it's going to be another just slugfest. I mean, where it's just everything just looks hard.
Yep, and you're justified, but you're justified in that because the way they've played indicates you could trust nothing ever, and you're in wait and see, and you're waiting to see if something bad's going to happen. That is the position we've been put in. That is not a position I've chosen. I am forced into that position because of the level of play. And then right when you think it started to get better, it reverted 5 steps. This is wait and see. You know what's good, though? At least only us are going to see it because nobody else is paying for Peacock to tune this game up, baby. I know that. Nobody else is. Nobody's on the edge of their seat going, I got to update that subscription this week.
Yeah, got to get my 7-day free trial going on.
Yeah,
I gotta log into that. But,
they should pay you.
Right. I mean, how you know what I want to see? Okay, it's just something that gives me a little hope and confidence that Freeman forced a change somewhere, some shape. Just break the tendencies. How about that?
Yep.
Even if it's a slugfest.
Yeah.
Even if you're still going like, how in the hell can you not move the damn ball? You know,
You know what I would be fine with? You know what I'd be fine with? I would be fine with some wrinkles on offense that look new to all of us. Like we could tell it just looks different. Even if it doesn't work, even if it doesn't work, great. I would still say, all right, at least you're trying something a little different.
Well, let me put a caveat there, okay? Because it wrinkles within our player personnel, okay? When Notre Dame was 5 wide on the second play of the game, I turned my buddy who was watching with me. I go, "This is gonna be a long game."
Yeah.
And then they went 5 wide again on third. It's like we are not a 5 wide team. We got three. We got like 3 tight ends wide. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. I don't know, man.
No, I'm with you.
I don't know.
I want to see a wrinkle, but within the player personnel.
Yeah,
something in that.
And I think there's a lot to work with there. Even within our limitations, there is some talent to work with. You got to do a better job of scheming it to their advantage and making it easier on them to make plays. Everything seems so damn hard. So thanks for the call, man. We covered a lot of ground here. I appreciate it. Call me back Friday with your final thoughts.
I appreciate it, John.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Oh, man, this is just tough discussion, man. I feel like these are counseling sessions. All right, 573-618-703. The next 3 up, 10-second break. Entertain yourself. Oh, I'm telling you guys, I'm sorry. Every time the seasons change from warm to cold, I get all stuffed up, can't breathe. Oh my God. $5 holler, Paul Conley. One thing for sure, no serious program will take Reese as OC or play caller. Credibility gone, in my view. You know what I think the angle is there? NFL quarterback coach. Looks like a promotion. You're going to the big show. You're going to the NFL, work your way up, get out of the shadow of the dome, get out of all the Notre Dameness that has surrounded his life since he's been a recruit, a teenager. All right. Might be better for everybody. Maybe everybody consider that. Maybe it'd be better for Reese to not be in the shadow of this dome anymore. Maybe it would free him up to live his life a little bit more non-Notre Dame. Kent, knock that off. Making fun of my arthritic knees popping. You ain't supposed to hear that on the air. How good is this, Mike? Jeez. 573, you're talking to me. Let's do it.
Top of the morning, John.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing okay.
Everybody sounds kind of down today, man. Everybody just sounds down. We're all trying to just figure it out. Have you come to any answers or solutions?
Well, it usually takes me 48 hours to get over something like this, but it's taking longer for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
this was a really rough one, man. Really rough one.
Yeah. I think long term, Reese, looking long term, Reese needs to go. I mean, he's responsible for that QB room, that QB talent coming in. I mean, just long term, he's got to go. But short term, I don't see blaming Reese as the solution. Short term, these players need to be held accountable in the short term to turn this around quickly.
So tell me, here's what I always say. I always talk about this too. My next question to you has to be, what does accountability look like? Every coach says it when things aren't going well. What does accountability look like? To me, accountability in this matter looks like if you're not making plays, you're out of here and we're giving somebody else a chance because you're not doing your job. That is what accountability to me looks like when you're in a position where all your goals are ruined and we're not even to freaking Halloween yet. What do you mean by accountability? That's what it means to me.
I concur with you. It starts in practice, though, with the coaches going, remember the Titans on them. You know what I mean? If you drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and you know what's up, right? It starts with that. That's the way it's got to be from now on. If you make a mistake, you're out. Next man up.
Yeah, and I don't think the staff looks at it that way. You know, they look at their older guys as more reliable and all that. I'm looking at it as you're the part of the reason we're in the position we're in. So you lost your, yeah, man, it's tough. So do you think it's going to be a struggle again this week, or do you think they put it together and come out and look different again?
Man, I don't want to jinx it. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it all relies on quarterback play to me. If Drew Pine comes out there and plays like North Carolina, BYU, then we'll be all right. But if he's out there deer in headlights, staring down Michael Mayer, overthrowing wide receivers, it's going to be a struggle again.
Yeah, and I think this is where you start to find maybe some of the physical limitations Pine has come into play. Where when he's in rhythm and everything's good and he's having a hot day against a defense that could be had, it looks pretty good. And then when he's a little off, everything looks like a big struggle like it did Saturday night. So I think that's where maybe you start to find, some of those struggles come in physically when he's not really on. But it's still, even in those struggles, you can't be losing to Marshall and Stanford. Get real.
No, and that's the thing. I've been seeing on Twitter with our fans, some of our fans, most of our fans get it, but some of our fans are just got their head in the sand. and don't want to come out. I mean, I hear them saying this is part of the process. Why are we criticizing so hard? They're adjusting to the transition. I'm just like, what are you thinking here?
But wait.
This is not part of the process. Not part of any transition with coaches. What are you doing? And by the way, what transition are you talking about? Freeman was here last year. Reese has been here a decade. What transition?
It's like
there's no transition to get used to.
Here's my official position on that. I knew and was accounting for struggles this year, an adjustment period, a calibration for Marcus, the new coaches gelling. Like, I knew those things were going to be challenges, but there's limits to what those reasonable challenges could be. Struggling against Ohio State is understandable. Losing to Marshall at home in those challenges is not. Like, there's levels to this. You need to be able to work through your struggles and not lose to Marshall and Stanford at home. So that's where I draw the line. I was accounting for a transition period and a rough patch, but it had to be in ugly wins. It couldn't be this bad. There's something bigger in play. I don't like it.
I completely agree. There's no excuses for these losses, especially at home. It's just no excuse.
It's super jarring to be able to give up your home field the way we have. It's upsetting because it's hard to get to the point where you are doing a good job of defending your own field pretty much every week. And we open it up to bad opponents. Now everybody's looking at that. You don't think UNLV is laughing? Their motivational angle is right in front of them. Look at what everybody else does that goes in there that isn't any good. We could do it too. That's their angle.
Yep. I think it starts with our mentality. Taking accountability in practice is one thing, but you also have to have the mentality of going in there and just embarrassing the other teams. I mean, you got to have that mentality.
Yeah.
I don't that.
It's rough. And that's something that's tough too, because how do you measure mentality? How do you measure how that's being installed? How do you measure how that's being challenged? Those are things behind the scenes that none of us know. And that's what makes it really, really hard.
The O-line can set the tone. The O-line sets the tone. If they have that mentality, that's the way it's going to be the rest of the game.
Well, what was their mentality last week against Stanford when you could barely run it for 150 yards?
I thought there was going to be a cakewalk, and they didn't. Did you see on NBC they had that box up? Well, no, because you're at the game, but on NBC they had a box up there with the average weight of our O-line and the average weight of the Stanford D-line. And we outmatched them by average of 50 pounds.
Yep, and they won the battle all night. Imagine that. Isn't that messed up?
It is.
Yep.
Like, did they just think in there they're going to push them over like the little trees that they are? What? Come on.
Yep. And so you got a lot of problems here all in the mix. Let's wrap up with this. What are a couple little changes you want to see this week that will show you that they took this week of practice seriously and are trying to adjust? What are you looking for? They don't have to be big, just a couple little things even.
Well, I'd like to see Tobias get more playing time. That's one. But then I want to see the run game take off some more. I want to see 4+ yards per carry, and I want to see that O-line dominate UNLV.
Yep, that'd be a good start. Get back to business. And
and by the way, tackling needs to improve because our corners are just whiffing on tackles.
Yep.
That needs to improve as well.
Yep, that was an issue too. So I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen, but I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, love your show, John. I discovered you last year after the Cincinnati game here on YouTube. Been listening ever since. And your story about you and your friend at the Bush Push game really put things in perspective for me in my life. So just appreciate you.
Hey, that means a lot to me. Thank you. And the other thing, man, is I struggled with that. That's an episode I had recorded probably 3 other times over the years, and for some reason never put it out, and I don't know why. And then ultimately I did recently, and it was good for me. I needed to get that out just to feel better. So thank you for acknowledging that. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Have a good one, man. Thanks a lot for your support. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. My Bush push story has a dark turn at the end, more than just the game. If you want to go look it up, go for it. Oh, man. All right. We're going to go 618-703-737. I'm going to get a couple. Did I visit the grotto? I always visit the grotto. You know that. Got to hit it. Good for the soul to hit the grotto. Laugh all you want, but I'd love to see ND hire Charlie Weiss as OC. Are you talking about Charlie Weiss Jr.? Because that's the one that I have people literally telling me they want us to hire. It's Weiss, but it's Jr. is the one people want to hire. I have seen people be dead serious about that, wanting that. Here we go. Da-da-da. All right, 618. Sorry to make you wait.
Yes. Yeah. I was just wanted to mention, man, some of the people hit the points, man. We need better offensive execution, and that comes from the coach. You know, I just want to see the best 11 guys on offense that you could put on offense, and let's go from there. I mean, Tobias proved Saturday that he's your best deep threat, and they're not getting him on the field.
Yep. Now, and I don't care if he's young. I know he's young, but you need a spark. That wide receiver room is dead. He gave you a spark. Let the young man run. Let him go. Scheme him 2 or 3 of them balls a half. You need a spark. He gave you a spark. Let him keep sparking.
And I know we got receivers coming in for the 2023 class, but if I'm them receivers, I'm kind of looking at it like, man, they don't even play the young guys. I'm coming here to help, but I'm going to be given that opportunity to help. I don't know if it's Marcus or if it's Reese. I mean, I know Reese probably go by that old mentality that the last coach went by, but you got to get out of that. If you want to win, man, you got to put the best players on the field.
Yeah. And what do you make of the usage of the running backs? Do you think there's more that could be done with those 3 guys? Are you happy with the distribution, the way they're being used? Or do you think there's more creative ways to get more out of that group too?
Yeah, I think it's more creative ways to get that group too. I mean, that group gets to going and then you take the ball out their hands. You know, I mean, you can't, once they get hot, you got to keep going with the hot hands. And another thing is finishing games. Even in the wins, it looked like we can't finish the game. You know, on offense or defense, we can't finish the game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, finishing's a problem, and now starting's a problem too. How do you explain these slow starts at home? Why is that happening? It's not okay. It's very disturbing. Why? How do we get to that point where that's happening more than once?
Man, I think that comes down to coaching, man, that preparation. I mean, they're playing good against the teams that's like the better teams or whatever, like the North Carolinas, the Ohio States. They play decent on defense against Ohio State. The BYUs, you playing good against those, and then you come and play against Marshall at home, Cal at home, play against Cal at home, and then you drop this egg against Stanford, man. That's not good. I mean, I love Marcus, but man, he's gonna have to. You're a head coach. As a head coach, you allow your coordinators to do what they do. You know, you allow your coordinators to do to coach them kids. But then when you see mistakes, you got to step in. You can't look like a deer in the headlight.
Yeah, and
it comes down to preparation.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. A part of me is wondering if Marcus entered this first year like, all right, things are kind of where they're at. I'm not going to rock the boat too much. We're going to see how things go. And maybe there's an ongoing calibration and next year's going to look way different. Maybe Marcus just wanted 1 year, see how things go, adjust off of that as the baseline, and then maybe he makes changes. I don't know. But if things keep going this way, you're going to have to make changes, or Marcus is going to go down in flames with all of this. He's the leader. His reputation's on the line. His name's on the business card. He's going to have to make tough decisions if he feels he has to.
The first change needs to be nothing wrong. I understand that you wanted Tommy Rees because he was part of the old regime and he part of Notre Dame and he went to Notre Dame. But man, you got to cut ties with Tommy Rees. You got to get an offensive coordinator in there. I don't care, something like maybe what Alabama did, man, where you got offensive coordinators that's experienced, that got head coaching experience, that's on the verge of becoming a head coach again, whether it's 2 or 3 years down the line. But you still need all experience around you. I mean, nothing wrong with Tommy Rees, but he wasn't the man for this job. He wasn't the guy. The offensive play call been miserable. It's been miserable. Watching you score 14 points. You score 14 points heading into the fourth quarter against Marshall. You score 14 points at home against Stanford, who's giving up 35 points a game. That's unacceptable.
How do you divide out the blame between execution and bad scheming or not the right plan when you don't score a touchdown in any first quarter in any games throughout the year? That indicates to me it's more than just execution. It tells me that what you're trying to do isn't going to work and the other team's ready for it. Like, how do you parse the blame between execution and scheming and adjustment?
The only way you can adjust is put the best on the field. You got to put your best receivers, your best 3 to 4 receivers on the field. And your running back is okay. I mean, I like every last one of them. Either one of them can have 100 yards on any given Saturday.
Yep.
The offensive line, I mean, I see people blaming them, but I don't feel like they did too bad of a job this year. It's just that the quarterback that you got and the receivers besides Bayer that you putting on the field is not working. I haven't really, did any research on the freshman quarterback that's behind him, but man, maybe you got to play him. I mean,
it's rough, man.
11 and he getting ball. You're getting ball swatted down at the line.
Yeah.
You can't see he's not giving them an opportunity to read. When it comes down to reading, that's come down to the coaching. And he's not coaching them up to read. It's the first option only, and you look like a deer in the headlights after that. If that's not open, then what? You don't know what to do.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. What is your big picture outlook in the quarterback room? What needs to happen for Notre Dame? You got to get a transfer in there that picks things up right away, find a young recruit to develop. What do you want to see?
You can either get a transfer or you can go back into like, hey, these quarterbacks, I know they committed somewhere, but we need to go back and try to get back in the ball game to make them, to force them, like the kid that's going to Oklahoma with the kid from Geyer.
Yeah.
You can get back into that game because Oklahoma don't look no better than what Notre Dame looks.
Yeah.
So you can get back
a lot of these guys were allegedly in the mix for. It's like us, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. Take your pick, buddy. They all got some problems.
Yeah. And I mean, I was discussing with a guy the other day. I said, man, Oklahoma never looked the same again. I mean, it was a big mistake trying to chase Texas over to the SEC. That was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
So, being down from Texas, I'm like, man, Oklahoma made a big mistake, man. Dude, I would never go to Oklahoma after they made that decision.
If you're talking about those conferences, what would you think of Notre Dame hopping in the Big Ten?
That'll be man, right now, man, I've been saying it for the last 5 years, and I've been a Notre Dame fan since I was 6 years old. They need to be in a conference. And all the independent things, that's cool, fine, and dandy, and the NBC contract is going to run out. I wouldn't worry about the NBC contract. I mean, you'll get more money off the Big Ten network than you will than the NBC. I mean, I understand you want to keep it for yourself, but they need to get a. What they need to do is they need to get an athletic director in there that's like, hey, we need to make some changes. And the first change we need to make is the football team need to be in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, it would, it guarantees you the revenue. You're going to have a bigger revenue share. It guarantees your access to the playoff is the same as everybody else, no extra hurdles. It builds you a little more leeway in the season. You don't have to feel like you're undefeated as an independent to have a chance. And you get a lot of your rivalries back. You keep USC, rekindle Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, go out east for Penn State. Like, there's a lot you could do. In-state, Indiana, Purdue, Michigan State, Wisconsin. Those would all be good games for Notre Dame in that conference. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see.
I mean, any conference will take Notre Dame in. I mean, whether it's the SEC, ACC, or the Big Ten, any one of those conferences will take Notre Dame in.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know, man. What do you think happens this week? Is it a struggle, but we win, but it's ugly? Does Notre Dame come out mad and blow them out? What happens?
I think we struggle, but we win.
Yeah, and that's going to be a really rough place. That's a rough place to be, too, though. Isn't that a rough place to be? You're down and out. And then you're going to play an opponent that doesn't give anybody any juice. Nobody's excited about UNLV. And then you play ugly and win. It's just going to be like, it's still kind of annoying, but at least you didn't lose, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, man. I mean, I'm going to look a little bit forward. But I think for some reason, I think they play well against teams that they don't supposed to beat, like North Carolina and BYU. They didn't supposed to win those games, but they won those games. They played well enough to beat Ohio State.
And it's like they have a different level of focus or something for those games. And then the other ones that they just show up and roll the ball out there.
Yeah. And I'll say this. I think the three games that I think that people down them in, it would be Syracuse, USC, and Clemson. I think they win those games. They struggle, but they win.
Well, they do play better against the better competition, it seems, as weird as that is.
Yeah.
That's kind of ass backwards, but.
And I mean, I think those three games might save the season, but they need to beat the opponents that they're supposed to beat. And not only beat the opponents that you're supposed to beat, you need to beat them. You need to beat them badly. Not the
UNLV.
Not what you did to Cal.
I think Notre Dame was a 24 and a half point favorite. You got Notre Dame covering. You going to put your mortgage on that? You got us covering that 24 at home, baby? Yeah, me neither. No freaking way, man.
They might score 24 points.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I don't care. I don't care what they think of UNLV. I just don't trust my team, okay? It isn't about them. I just don't trust my guys.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like, man, after what he needs to do is be evaluating. The defense haven't played all that bad either, but a lot of people put some blame on defense. I don't really put a lot of blame and stock into that, but he needs to get an offensive coordinator that come in and say, hey, man, Marcus, we're going to play the best, whether it's a freshman, sophomore, a high school senior, I don't care.
Yeah.
We're going to put the best on the field right now. And a lot of people, when the quarterback from King went to decide he wanted to go to commit to Oregon, maybe this was part of the reason. Maybe like, man, I can't play for Reese. I don't want to play for Reese.
Man, it's tough.
He's not going to open up the offense.
Yeah,
I don't want to play for him, so I'm gonna just go ahead, go over there, open up the playbook, play freshman, and I ain't got nothing to worry about. I don't have to deal with it.
Oh, man, this is so frustrating. I guess we'll see what happens, man. But thanks for the call. Give me a call again. I appreciate the insight.
All right.
Have a good day. Man, I like people got a lot to say. Frank Luna, ND's most impressive games were on the road. Weird. It makes no damn sense, Frank. It makes no sense. It just doesn't. Like, that's what 703, you next, 737-630. Those are the next three up. This is what has me saying it's more than execution. When you play your physical worst at home in your dark navies, that's an indicator there's something wrong here. Like, there's something off when you're playing your worst ball at home and you're just dead. You're rolling over and playing dead against bad opponents in front of your own crowd. Something's off. Like, something's wrong. Texas Mac, $4.99. I appreciate that. Got to get away from the three-headed monster narrative. All three are different. You can't use all three the same. I've been saying I appreciate all three of their varying skill sets. I do. But sometimes I do ask, who's getting schemed to get what touch and how it looks, if it's best served to get the best result out of the play using that guy's skill set. That is something I've asked myself and struggle with. Texas Mac, I appreciate the $4.99. Thanks for being here. I don't remember your name. You might be new. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. 703, you're on the air.
Johnny. How you doing, buddy?
I'm hanging in there. We're a few days past the Stanford game. Have things settled down for you? Where are you at in your process here?
Well, I'm going to focus on how a beautiful day it is today. The leaves are changing colors, and slight breeze. It's a little chilly, but it's a beautiful day to be alive.
There you go. That's a good start.
Processing. I guess I can start with everybody because everybody's in the frenzy about Tommy, so that's low-hanging fruit. So I guess we could start there because is Tommy a great offensive coordinator? Probably not. Is he imaginative like Sarkisian, the guy from Tennessee, or the guy in Texas? No, he's not. It's very disappointing. The offenses should be doing better. I wish he would use Merriweather earlier in the year for some reason, or the game, or the last drive. That's inexcusable for him not to be using that guy. He's a pro receiver. He's an SEC type receiver. I'm also disappointed in Tommy early in the year when we had Tyler Buckner as quarterback. Tyree got the ball a total of 9 touches. He's averaging 17 a game now, and his offense looks a lot better since he's touching the ball. They dumbed down the offense for Drew. I'm not criticizing Drew. Drew's done a good job the last game. But he dumbed it down offense for him and made Tyler Buckner act like he's Daryl LaMonica throwing bombs all over the place. There was no screen passes. There was no rollout to protect a guy who's just starting his first game in 3 years at Ohio State. They put the whole damn offense on him. And they're protecting Drew. That's on Tommy. And Tommy needs to play receivers who need to play. Not Serrano. Serrano, great story. Great guy, great kid. But he should not be on the field unless we're taking the knee because we won the game.
Yeah.
I can go on. I'm disappointed in Marcus. I love Marcus. I don't understand the disconnect at home why these kids seem like they're the pilot lights out.
Yep, me neither.
On the road,
I don't get it, man. It really bothers me. And it really bothers me because of all the things Kelly struggled with. One of them was he got pretty good at protecting the home turf and beating unranked opponents. And to see both of those go bye-bye so fast it's pretty jarring. Do you think that Marcus sees what we all see, or do you think that he thinks things are fine too? Or does he have a big checklist and a lot of things are going to end after this year?
Well, I think I'm hoping he has a checklist, but there's still no excuse for us to beat Green. This team's a 5-1 team, despite our limitations at quarterback and receiver. There's no reason for us to be where we're at right now. And some of it's on him. What made me concerned is when I heard him make a comment the other day where on that 4th down sweep that we did to 83, that supposedly Tommy told him we weren't in the right look to call timeout, and he didn't call timeout.
Yeah.
You got to listen to your coordinator on that. You got to take charge. Okay. Then maybe you might think about kicking the field. I was all for going for the touchdown. I have no problem with that because you just block the punt. You need to score. You need to score there to show guys I believe in you. And I think he did great on that too. I think he's done good on that all year.
Yeah.
But if your coordinator tells you we're in a bad look, you need to get out of it.
Hey, people are asking
That's on him.
if you're checking out at the supermarket with the beep. You're delivering packages, mail, right? And you're beeping them in, right?
Yeah, I'm delivering mail. None of them are chickens, and they're all good.
I was gonna say when I heard that beep, I thought maybe it was my hospital monitor there telling me my heart was getting out of pace here.
Yeah. Well, Brandon always sets me up about that too. He goes, "Was that you?" I go, "Yeah, that was me on John's show."
Yeah. You guys are both beeping it. I like you guys that are multitasking. Work and get your Notre Dame in. I like it, man.
Well, I tried to call Monday, but it was a frenzy. I couldn't get through because everybody's calling, which I understand. I know that stay away from Mondays from now on.
Yeah, well, and it depends what happens too. It was a particularly busy Monday.
Now, I want to focus on what Marcus said about execution.
Okay.
I think everybody's all uptight about what he meant by execution. This is where I think he's talking about execution. I know another gentleman before me blamed the coaches for that. That's fair. But is it the coach's fault when you have Lindsey open by 20 yards, your quarterback throws it in the front row on the simplest of throws?
Yep.
Is it execution? Is it Tommy's fault when your quarterback has Tobias beating a guy by 10 yards down the sideline and he overthrows him? Is it Tommy's fault? Now, Tommy has all the blame. I'm talking about the execution. It's execution when Styles has the ball in the end zone, he drops it. Execution before halftime, we're at the 48-yard line with a minute to go. Your quarterback fumbles on first down because he doesn't protect the ball. Is it execution? The execution part I'm talking about is when we have a running back who looks like Tarzan but fumbles like Jane on the 30-yard line. We're about to go in for the game-leading field goal. I really think we were going to shove it right down their throat for a touchdown because we were blowing them off the line then. Yeah, we had 3 straight long runs. We get there at 21-16. Is it executions when Drew throws the ball to Styles and he drops 3 passes? Now, let's say we don't get all those. We get half those, Johnny. That's 31 points there at the max.
Yeah.
Probably 27.
Now,
but we get half that. That's 13 points. That's 27 points there. It looks bad still.
Yeah.
Not saying Tommy's doing a great job.
But it's not a disaster. Yeah. Like, so do you...
we're just going, God, the offense looks like crap. We're not winning. But you know what? Drew, we didn't do great, but we still won. It's our rival. We'll have to see that guy smirking all night.
But is it a cop-out for me? Is it a cop-out for me to say that I think both of these things are true? Yes, execution by the players sometimes is a problem. I also think it's true that sometimes they're not put in the best position for a drive or a play to succeed. And I think both of those are in the mix at the same time. I'm not saying it's all one or the other. They both are married together. And I think
both can be true.
Right. Yeah. And I think
both can be true. You're absolutely right. But the low-hanging fruit is just to blame Tommy for everything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Tommy's great. I don't know if he's great. I think we're so limited at quarterback right now. The offense has been dumbed down if you look at it for resilience.
Yeah.
Because the limitation. But you know why I blame Tommy? You don't tell me it took 6 weeks plus preseason practice for Meriwether Fowler to be able to run 2 passes. He looks so different.
Yeah.
Different from everybody. Styles is our number 1. He's really a number 2 at best. Lindsey's our number 2. He's a gimmick receiver, but he is open. If you look at the games, he is open.
Yeah.
But our quarterback, you know what? I heard a guy talking the other day on your line call me and says, well, you need to teach him to get off his Mayer read. Okay, he's right. But you tell me they haven't taught him because the other 2 games he got off the Mayer read, even though he's still in the Mayer. You know what the big difference was from the North Carolina game and the BYU game to Stanford game is? We weren't running at 6 yards a pop. Okay? And Drew had 8 seconds, 6 seconds to throw the ball to pick who he wanted. Stanford ball pressure, but he wasn't under that much pressure.
Yeah.
So he was hurrying his reads, and he went to his roommate. And that's very young, and he shouldn't be inexperienced. I know he's inexperienced at play time, but this is the 3rd year in the program. Now, I want to blame Tommy because, like I told you, he underutilizes Tyree the first 2 games. And he just wants to run him up the gut. You need to get him on a pitch out or a sweep, or, cross buck outside. Like he broke those long runs against Syracuse, the one he got against Clemson in the playoff game, the championship against ACC. You need to get him out of space. Get him a flare pass. You know where they didn't use the running backs this game? In the passing game. This is the first time all year since Marshall game. Marshall game we used Tyree Cobb touchdown pass. We didn't use any of the receivers in the passing game. I mean, the running back. Sorry, the running back. It doesn't make sense to me. We have such a big advantage because Stanford is so slow in the middle. That's where I blame Tommy. He didn't put his players in position, but when you put them in position, they crap their pants.
Yeah, but it's everything. It's all of this. Even if it was all fine, you were still going to have this wide receiver room was going to be a problem all year. Even if it was Buckner or Pine, you were going to have an inexperienced quarterback all year. Like, you were going to have a certain amount of these struggles no matter what. This is just beyond the pale. It's beyond what it's beyond what they can reasonably be and have me accept. What's going on now is more than that.
It's inexcusable and it's embarrassing what's going on. This team, at worst case scenario, not with all of our flaws, should be 5-1. With the talent we have. This roster is a minimum 10-win roster. I don't care what people say. This is not a transition year. Okay, we're not taking over a 6-6 program. Yeah. We're taking over a team that averaged over 10 wins for the last few years. So that's their excuse, and they're not producing. It's either something going on in practice, or the practice looks so good in practice. You see Marcus' faces. He's like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah.
It's like in practice, he must look really good because he's like shocked by everything. I feel for Marcus. I love Marcus. I want him to do so well, not just because for Notre Dame. I just personally like the man.
Yeah, you want to see him do well.
I just want him to do good.
Yeah.
And he can defeat a lot of stereotypes that people like to throw out about certain people, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I want to do well, because he's such a quality person. He gets Notre Dame, but there's a disconnect. And if he gets it off, I'm not buried to Tommy. He wants to get rid of Tommy next year. Get rid of him. Okay, fine. Nice knowing you, Tommy. But you got to make sure you have the right guy coming in.
Yeah.
You need a guy who's going to play guys. I'm for playing younger guys. Even when you can't play a young guy and plays the game on receiver. So I'm a little. This is where it kills me, John. On that last drive, Merriweather's killed the safety or the corner twice, right?
Yep.
Just embarrass the guy. They're doubling team in the 87. Why don't you bring him in and have him run deep a couple times? They might double cover him. That might get Mayer single coverage. Or if they're doing Mayer, there's going to be somebody else, and they're not bringing pressure. I'm not the smartest guy. And why you haven't? I know why they have 7 back there blocking, because he's the best pass blocker they got. After what Diggs did early in the year, they trust him. But I would like to have Tyree there to get him in space. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want my playmakers. When I need to get 45 yards, I got to get my guy to make a guy miss.
That's the thing. When you're running an offense you already know is limited, it's even more important you get your playmakers the ball with opportunities to do something with it afterwards. Like, you have to scheme that up to try and make up for some of the natural limitations the offense has. I just wish they do a better job of doing that. There's some more talent on that offense that could flash if it just all looked a little smoother.
And if I'm rooting right now, I'm a little angry because 88, who came back this week, he's playing on this play. Reardon's been busting his ass for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And why wasn't he on the field that much? That would make me wonder what the hell this. I mean, the other guy's a good player. Looks like he has the speed. But right now, give him some plays that get his feet wet. But Reardon's earned playing time. He's played really well. He's deserved to get a couple balls and how well he's been blocking. He's not a perfect blocker, but he works his ass off playing blocking.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that since Trimble.
Yep. I don't know, man. It's frustrating. It's beyond frustrating, and it's hard when there's multiple issues. There's not one thing to point out and fix and solve. There's multiple things going on. We'll see how it goes this week, my friend. But thanks for the call, and have a good work day.
Yes, sir. Hey, Johnny, we're going to win this week. It might not be pretty.
There you go. Hey, we'll take what we could get. I would rather complain about an ugly win than any kind of loss any day.
Yeah, it just makes it sickening as us because Michigan's actually playing good again.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I hate they just beat the hell out of Pedophile State University.
It
was just a beatdown.
I know.
I don't know. Just hopefully they get there sometime. They could stomach this season a little bit.
I know. Maybe it'll have to be Kent's Ohio State University. I'll have to do it.
Yeah. Geez.
Yeah, I know. You
No,
got to
no,
wait
no,
all
we'll
the way
see.
till the end.
Yeah, then all of a sudden the guy who's born on third base doesn't come through again.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. There
We
you
got-
go.
we got- we
All
got
right,
that
man.
crap.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Well, take care. Thank
Take
you for
care.
taking my call.
No
Bye.
problem, man. I like people that call when they're working, man. Get your business in while you're taking care of business. Kent's a postmaster. Hey, this is the mail show. Everybody, half the people, I think there's 3 or 4 of you that are either FedEx guys or mail guys. I like it. What did I want to go back to? First off, $5 from Paul. I appreciate it, Paul, man. Dishing out them fives. Put this season in the twilight zone. That's fair. Bizarre and not understandable and not rational. Yeah, pretty much. Where was it? Something else I wanted to push back on. Then we're going 737 next. James Thompson, you are a 6-6 program. The program in the last 5 years has won 10 or more games with 2 undefeated seasons in it. If you want to say we're going 6 or 6 this year, fine. But the last 5 years, 10 plus wins, and there's only like 3 or 4 schools that have done that besides us. If it keeps going this way, they're going to turn into a 6-6 program, but they're not one right now. Oh man, this is rough. 737. What's going on?
Hey, good morning. I appreciate you guys taking the call. Love the show. You know, I think everybody that's called in obviously is making very valid things. I think the biggest thing that I see in watching these games is that, and this is a big complaint under Kelly as well, was that we seem to be a really slow starter. And I think when you look at, hey man, first quarter, no points. Fourth quarter, we're in the lead almost every game going into the fourth quarter, minus Ohio State, which we lost that lead, 3 minutes before the fourth quarter. I mean, you look at that, we talk about slow start, and I got to put it on the coaches. It almost seems like we're a little soft, right? Like we're getting punched in the mouth and we don't come back from that punch in the mouth. And it happens to be more at home. And like the teams we're playing, the Cals, the Stanfords, the Marshalls, they're pumped to come into Notre Dame Stadium and play. They're pumped to be there. That's a big game for them. For many, it's the biggest game they're going to play all year. And
Yep.
I don't think we certainly haven't been matching that intensity.
And
I
see,
think that's where the issue comes in. I think,
but
ahead,
that has been the Notre Dame thing forever. For my entire life, everyone has always said, and it's been known, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. You're going to get their best because you are Notre Dame. You are circled on every single team schedule every single year. You play Michigan, you're circled, just like Michigan State and Ohio State on that schedule. Notre Dame's always going to get everybody's best shot. And if it isn't their number 1 game, it's number 2 next to their rivalry game. Notre Dame people have to know that. You got to know. To us, Marshall's nothing, but to them, you're the Super Bowl. And you need to prepare that way, and it doesn't look like we have, and it's upsetting.
Yeah, I think for me, as you look at it, and the more you listen to, the more you learn. Like I said, I gotta put it solely on the coaches. Like, are we prepared? Are we up for this game? And it doesn't seem like we are. And then, like you said, you talk about getting like a punch in the mouth, and can we come back from that adversity? And I think you saw it in Ohio State. Once Ohio State scored that touchdown, we trailed off, and we didn't come back in the fourth quarter. You know, you see Marshall, they kick us in the mouth in the beginning. We never come back from that. You know, we play Cal, and it was obviously that was a struggle, and we came back from it in the second half. But then you come out from UNC, guy throws a pick first one, and we're up, and we take that momentum to the game. But we don't start off well. We're not mentally tough. You know, we can't take the adversity. And that's the big part. And it's almost like it's gotten worse because, like I said, we've led. And I think this is the piece where a lot of people aren't talking. We lead in almost every game going into the fourth quarter. I mean, going all the way back to the bowl game last year.
Yeah.
And we're just not finishing. You know,
But
and
that's
the
hard.
piece. Like, are these guys pumped up?
That's hard because, like, scheme is scheme. Like players, you can look at who's doing good or bad and all that. Like, but how do you measure that motivation factor or why it's not there or the killer instinct? Like, I struggle with those kind of things because I know they're important, but I can't measure them. And that's where I get caught in this, like that mentality or lack of. I think it's important, but how do you measure it? And how do you gauge it? How do you instill it? That's where I have a hard time.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I was pumped. Obviously there's a ton of just positive things going around about Marcus Freeman when he first came in. You see the video with him walking into the locker room,
yep,
and he gets announced, and those kids are just pumped up. And I'm thinking, like, all right, this is what we need. These kids are now going to be pumped going into the first quarter, start this game.
That's
off
what
right,
I thought.
Moving forward, and that hasn't happened.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, where's the motivation that we saw during that time? Because again, I think, and everybody has put out, whether you talk about players being on the field, who should be out there when, I agree with all those things that are shared. I think the one thing that we're not talking about is it doesn't matter who's on the field if in the beginning we are coming out and we are just kind of flat and we're soft and we can't deal with any of the adversity. You could have the best players in the whole world, but if everybody comes out and they're soft, it's obviously an issue. I went from watching the Tennessee-Alabama game, which was a great game, but man, to go from watching that game, and the speed of that game, and the intensity of that game, and then turning on Notre Dame, Stanford, and seeing the way that those teams were playing,
slow motion. It's slow motion. Yeah,
it was a huge,
Yep.
clearly visual difference in the way that those two teams played each other. And there's no way that there's a Notre Dame that's competing with an Alabama or a Tennessee right now.
Yeah, and look at those offenses. Look at that Tennessee offense and how fun that is. You got a quarterback that could do it all. Like I was even hearing how they line up their wide receivers a certain way at a odd depth perpendicular to the sideline to give them more room to operate. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into that offense, and it's fun, and I want us to have it, and we don't, and it bothers me.
Yeah, there's just so many things, and I think, man, you could start breaking it down. I hear you asking a lot of callers and just in general your audience, hey, what do you think we should do about this? I think the biggest thing we have to do is we have to come out a little pumped, and Marcus Freeman's got to figure out a way to get these kids ready, especially at home. Like you said, I mean, it's the biggest game of the year for a lot of the people we're playing, and they're pumped to be at Notre Dame. And, those kids from Marshall, those kids from Stanford, when they're graduating and they look back, that's going to be the game they look back on. That's why they're pumped. I get it. I get it 100%. But if we're not matching that intensity at home, like I hear everybody talking about, hey, we got a good shot against Clemson and we got a good shot against, USC. These are home games. We have not played home games very well this year. Of all the things we talked about, that's one of the scariest pieces for me is that we are so not playing well at home. It's really concerning. I hope we get it together, but I think it's really get these kids pumped to come out that locker room, start off the game strong. And I think, again, you're talking about it. You talk about our slow starts. I think by far our best running back at this point, or at least the one who's shown the most, is Estime consistently, whether you talk about carries or you talk about yards. But yet we don't put Estime in for the first quarter and most of the second quarter in most games. We don't see him till late in the game. And I just don't understand what the thought process is around that. Like, you want to get the team going, put the bruiser in, let him knock some people over. And you talk about pumping people up. That works.
I thought that too. I thought that too. And I thought maybe he was hurt or something. And I'm like, why is he not out there in that first quarter? I thought he could have bruised maybe, and you could have established something that way. But yeah, man, it's upsetting and losing that home field advantage. And it's just dangerous because I don't know how you instill a mentality like that. Like, that's not just practice physically. I don't know how you instill that mentality. It might be the leadership. Something's gone sideways on us. So what do you think happens against UNLV? Do we win, but it's ugly? Do we look good and come out mad? What happens?
Yeah, I think I'm hoping we win and it's ugly. But I mean, honestly, too, if you're a long-term Notre Dame fan, how many games can you remember seeing over the last 10, 12 years that were like these easy sale games. I think there's games we've won and we felt pretty good about, but we always let people back in. Like we never play a complete game. Like I can't tell you a game that's finished up right and have like heartburn after the game, even if we won, because they were always giving people a chance to get back in. And that's, we don't finish. Like you said, we don't have the killer instinct.
Hey, listen. So now you've covered that we get off to slow starts and we don't finish. So what's left? A couple good plays in the middle?
Well, it's funny.
Slow start, bad end.
I think they said it during the game, but they were talking, maybe it was last week's game, the prior to Stanford game. They were talking about Marcus Freeman talking about, was it the 8 minutes before and after the half, right?
Yeah.
And so, and maybe we're pressing that too much, because if you think about it, the second and the third quarter is when we play. We're not playing in the fourth quarter. We're not playing in the first quarter. So everything's happening maybe in those 8 minutes before half and after half. Maybe we need to get off that message a little bit, talk about maybe a 60-minute game as opposed to, 8 minutes before the half and 8 minutes after the half.
Yeah. Man, there's just a lot of ingredients in the stew that isn't sitting well with us right now, and it's very hard to parse out the blame. I struggle with it. Thanks a lot for the call, my friend. I'm going to try and whip through a handful more calls for the end of the show. Thanks for calling me. Call again.
We appreciate you, John. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a good day. All right, here's what we're going to do. A handful of calls popped up. I'm going to try and get through them all. 10-second break, and then we're going 630-309-951-224-317. I want to hit them all, but we're going to have to move a little quicker. Back in 10. All right, let's drive this baby home. 630. Hello.
Hello, John.
Hello. How are you doing?
Hi, John. We wrote to Jack Schwarbrick last summer and said, don't leave Marcus Freeman out to dry. Get him a quarterback out of the portal. And we carbon copied Marcus on it, too. We saw Buckner against Virginia Tech. He stunk. He lost the Marshall game, and Pine lost the Stanford game. So they kind of hung old Marcus out to dry and not giving him a quarterback.
Yeah, it's an issue. That quarterback room and dynamic, I believe, is the number one problem with the program right now, holding them back. So what do you want to see after this year? A transfer in, go in and recruit, find a 23 guy to develop till Carr comes in? What are the options on the solutions that make sense to you?
I want him to get a quarterback out of the portal, and hopefully they can select a good one. An experienced guy who's 24 years old, like all these quarterbacks we play against.
Yeah. Now, do you see that as more of a temporary Band-Aid? I'm of the belief that eventually they're going to have to recruit and develop their own homegrown guy with elite upside talent for a couple years. Do you think that's in play? Or we're so modern now with transferring, you could just get a guy in and win and get a guy in and win?
Well, hell, look what Cone did for us. I'm hoping that Carr is this long-term solution. He's a 5-star. So it's to get a temporary guy and then go to Carr.
Yeah, and there's a lot of quarterbacks available in that portal, and a lot of them are decent. You end up thinking, man, if a guy's moving around and from his original school, how good could he be? There's transfer guys all over playing good football. It's possible to do.
And John, didn't you know starting this year that Buckner and Pine weren't the answer?
I was hopeful that Buckner could develop into an answer, but his development got pushed back so many years from injury, COVID, Cone, and then this year, his development is 3 to 4 years behind where anybody wanted it to be. So he is a perpetual incomplete grade because his development never happens.
But you remember how he stunk against Virginia Tech? In the third quarter, we had no passing yards at all. Then Cone come in and won the game.
It's rough, but like, how do we get to the point where those are the options is my problem. Don't we have to start even further back than that?
Perhaps you're right, but they better get a quarterback for next year.
Yeah, they're in a mess.
Like I said, I think those two quarterbacks are responsible for the Marshall loss and the Stanford loss.
Yeah, man, there's just no easy answers. There's no easy answers. What do you want? Maybe the Michigan backup, somebody like that come in here? Irish name? Irish, good old Irish boy?
Probably, but John, let me give you the good news. My two sons are Notre Dame grads. My youngest son is a Michigan grad. So there you go.
Oh, man. Whoo, boy. Wow. Hey, I'm not saying Michigan isn't a good school, but you're not going to find me in the big house. That's all I'm saying.
And, John, we celebrate Thanksgiving on separate Thursdays. We got a Michigan Thanksgiving and a Notre Dame Thanksgiving.
There you go. I like that. Separate them out. It's a good way to do it. So what do you?
Go Irish, John.
Hey, are we gonna win this week? We're not gonna have another shutdown show, right?
We'll win this. We'll win this week.
I said that last week.
Yeah, I know, but we'll win this week. And they're gonna tell Pine, hey, consider Mayor a decoy. Go to these other guys.
There you go. Oh man, thanks for the call, my friend. Have a good week.
Okay. Go Irish, John.
Go Irish. Give me a call again later. We'll talk. That's an Illinois guy. All right, let's keep it moving. Bang through these. 309, you're on the line.
Hey, John, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on? How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm at work too. I'm a counselor actually, and I think after the season, I'm definitely going to need some therapy.
Oh man, it's just a lot to run through your mind and to make sense of. Have you come up with any solutions?
Oh, I have no solutions. I've got a question for you though.
Sure.
So, what would you need to see in the second half of the season? Right, the first season is what it is. What would you need to see these next 6 games for you to have hope and or consider the second half of the season a success? Right, because we got 2 big games. And then some other ones that, gosh, I thought they seemed winnable last week, but I have no idea now. But what do you think needs to happen the second half of the season for you to feel like it's a success?
All right. So really good question. And one part of it is like what I really want to see isn't possible. So I need to ignore that and go with what's realistic to see in our dynamic. I think you're at a point with this latest regression disaster where if you just saw incremental improvement and it was obvious that we were getting better each week, even if that means you lost against Clemson, but you played good and the offense looked better, like, isn't that the bar now that you just need to see incremental improvement? I feel like it's not fair to ask for anything else because they're not good enough to deserve a higher bar. So are we just back to like just looking for little improvements week to week?
I think we are. I mean, after the North Carolina win and then after the BYU win, I was thinking, hey, okay, well, I was one again. Like I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist. After those 2 wins, I was thinking, okay, hey, we're stringing something together here. The Clemson win, the Clemson game seems like a potential reality. We could win that game and then maybe sneak up on SC. It's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. And I had a lot of hope. And then Stanford happens and you're just like completely disoriented. Like what even is going on right now?
Yep. That's exactly where I was because I was blindsided because I felt like the play had stabilized and we were trending up and it wasn't where any of us wanted it, but we could live with the improvement knowing it's a process. But to just take 5 steps back out of nowhere in the way we did, in the game we did, at home the way we did, again, that's red flag on red flag on red flag on red flag across the board. And that's what's hard because you almost don't know where to start. Throw a dart and start there. Like There's a lot of stuff in the mix when you've fallen this hard at home again. It's upsetting and it's confusing.
At this point, I have to think, I'm like, okay, this seems mental to me. This isn't a physical tools issue. I mean, you have an all-American tight end. You have a studs all over the defense, Foskey. I mean, all these guys who have so much potential everywhere. I'm like, okay, we can talk about the talent discrepancy all day, but at the end of the day, these are D1 athletes, and these are supposed to be great coaches. The talent discrepancy, and especially look at your opponents you're losing to. You can't talk about talent discrepancy when you're losing to Stanford and Marshall. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's what tells me that it's not just execution and there's more going on. The mentality the mentality it takes to roll over at home against the teams we did, that ain't execution. That's something that isn't programming in their brains a message or the understanding of how sacred each of these 12 are, even if it's against a team that you don't think's great. Like, somewhere a message isn't connecting, and it's more than just making a physical play. There's more going on here than that, and that worries me. I really do not like how that hits.
Right. It's very concerning. And the hardest part about this is that there has been, I can't think of another person at Notre Dame, as long as I've been a fan, that I've wanted to succeed more than Marcus Freeman.
Yeah.
Player or coach. That's how much I love
it. It really does make it hard. Because, like, you just, everybody has that goodwill towards him personality-wise. You just want him to succeed. He's a good guy, the family guy, fits the Notre Dame look, all that, you know. He is going to have to get to a point where it's his team, his name on the brand, his reputation. You're going to have to make some tough decisions. The issue is you got to find a way to get through this season to get even to that point to look at the big picture stuff. You got to be able to limp through all this without blowing your entire recruiting classes up. And then that's a whole nother problem that comes into the mix.
Right.
You got to keep it together enough.
Yeah, you got to keep it together enough so that Bowen, and that's the thing is, think of Peyton Bowen, right? He's seeing Oklahoma crap the bed, and this would have been a perfect opportunity for us to rise to that occasion and be like, hey, this is exactly why you should ignore the Oklahoma talk.
Yeah. And man, it's just really frustrating. So there's short-term stuff and there's long-term stuff. Short-term, you got to hold this together enough to be able to keep these 23 and 24 classes pretty much intact. And then you got to really evaluate where we're going here and be careful and smart about it.
So John, what do you think is best case scenario these next 6 games?
I think if you could end up only losing to Clemson and USC, I think you would have to take that for where we're at. I hate it.
Okay.
I hate that. But from what I see, this team isn't beating Clemson and USC the way that we're playing.
Right.
But I would like to think talent alone, you could beat all the other ones. But I said that twice already this year and was wrong. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, at this point, left is right and right is left. We don't really know. We're all guessing here.
And you know what, though? That could end up in our favor. Watch Notre Dame play like crap all these other weeks and then show up and play Clemson down to the wire. That would be the most Notre Dame-y thing to do, wouldn't it? Like, I'm open to it. This season makes no sense already. It would be right in line that we would play them tough. I'm telling you, I'm open to it.
True.
Oh,
yeah. I think my realistic ideal scenario would be skirt by and beat everybody we're supposed to beat, and then if I'm being honest, probably lose to Clemson, and then maybe what I would love is to then just end USC's any playoff chances that they have and just squeak that out west. That would be the dream.
Man. You know what though? Those away USC games, that are Thanksgiving weekend in LA, I never liked those. There's something about it. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's like that chemical that you get from the turkey where it's like a groggy weekend or something. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just have this weird feeling when we go out there to finish on Thanksgiving weekend. I don't know. But
I think what you're talking about is a hangover, John.
Yeah, that might be it too. Yeah, it might be all the Jameson. It isn't the turkey. It's what's in the bottle. Yeah. But I don't, man, there are just a lot of things all in the mix here, and it's very hard to parse them out and know what percentage to blame on what and who. And I feel like that is driving all of us nuts. Where we're at right now, the only bar for this team is getting better week to week. There is no other bar. They deserve no other higher level bar. And it's sad, but that's where you're at. You have to rebuild it again, trying to get better week by week, rebuild people's trust and faith in you, because right now it's justifiably low.
Yep. That's the sad truth. We got to take it week to week.
Yep. But hey, I really appreciate the call. At Bloomington, is that right? Fancy ISU?
Yep. Oh yeah. ISU grad over here. Yeah, I stayed local here and work here as a therapist. So yep.
I used to play, what is it? Ironwood? Is that the golf? There's the ISU course. There was Ironwood.
Great. Yeah.
And then we always had the state championship. Is it Prairie Vista? Is that the nice course there?
Yep. Prairie Vista or the Den. Yep.
Yeah, Prairie Vista is where we had our the state championship. Played a lot of golf in that area, and I loved the town. Got a lot of family there. Brother went there, so good area, my friend.
Nice, awesome, good stuff. Well, hey, thanks. Take care. Go Irish.
No problem. Great call. And you know what I like about this call? That man had the clearest phone line of the day, and it makes my life easier. I like that. All right, we're going to go 951-224-323. That's going to be it for the day. Let's move through. 951, let's have some fun. What's on your mind?
Hey, John, longtime listener. Love your show. I appreciate everything that you're saying out there. I think that one of the biggest things that we're missing right now is our confidence with our team. I think, I think it's like Mike Tyson used to tell everyone, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And like you were saying earlier, we get that punch and, we fall behind against Marshall, we fall behind against Stanford, and we can't get back up there. But, I think Reese just doesn't have the confidence to go to his team and tell them, hey, wait till they see this next drive. We got something in store for them,
Yeah, it's all just so frustrating. Like my head's spinning.
Yeah.
I'm trying to judge 10 different things that I don't know if they're where we need them to be all at once. And it's like, I feel like I want to, you plug one hole and two more pop open kind of deal to try and figure all this out. Like and then right when we thought we were trending up, right back to ground zero. And I'm just struggling to wrap my mind around how that's possible.
Well, like our offense doesn't really change. You got Tommy Reese, who's done the exact same thing through 6 games of the season. I mean, Stanford didn't do anything different against us. They just took Marshall's defensive playbook and decided we're just going to scribble out the top of it and put Stanford's name on it, and we're going to run the same thing. I mean, they load the box. They dare us to pass. And, you've seen what Merriweather does when we go deep and stuff like that. We got to push the safeties. We got to push the linebackers off of it to get the run game going, but we just don't. But we surprise them when we do. It's just I don't know how Reese doesn't see that can work.
Yeah, it is. It's really frustrating. And like, listen, man, I know that the wide receiver group was limited going into the year. I knew no matter what, it was going to be limited.
Definitely.
Everybody knew that, though. That's not a surprise. It was on you to figure out how you were going to score points and move the ball, working with that.
Yep.
Working with that. Yep. Like, you needed to spend the summer building out an offense that could score points around that problem, not just scheme it up and hope that it would be fine week one. Like everybody knew it wasn't going to be.
Well, I think another big problem is there was too much trust in Tommy Reese from Marcus Freeman. He didn't want to step on his toes and ask him, do we need to get more in the transfer portal? I mean, UNLV's got 47 coming out of the transfer portal. Marshall had 50 something. So, I mean, it would have been really easy to get some of these kids, receivers who aren't first or second, to come over to Notre Dame. I mean, we've done it in the past.
Now wait a second. Let me ask this. Is it that easy to do? because in Notre Dame's transfer stuff, graduate transfers, it's different, but it is harder as an underclassman to get in there as a transfer. And that makes it harder for Notre Dame to play this game because they can't go, we're short 2 receivers. Let's go pull 2. A lot of times the grades don't line up, the credits. Even playing that game, Notre Dame has a harder time because all those academics. And so
Garonic from 2 years ago, he came over.
Yep, Benny.
Was a big help.
And you know what? He turned into a solid NFL guy out there in LA. It's the Rams, man. And I hear his name every week out there. He's a solid possession receiver. You love to see that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Love to see him out there with the Rams. But yeah.
Now, wait. Now, you're talking about that with wide receivers. Do you also want him to go that path with quarterbacks? Is that where you're headed next, or what do you do with that room?
No, I think with the quarterback room, I think that's a Reese. I mean, you've had now, I mean, who did he really develop? I mean, Ian Book was fantastic, but I think he got more of his developments from his time on the field versus from Tommy Reese. I mean, I think the offense, I mean, if his early hire into Notre Dame was quarterback coach and that is his development, I just don't see that us going forward with him. I mean, I'd love to take, Andy Ludwig from Utah, and they're scoring 40 to 50 points a game. I'd love to see something like that. If we can do those kind of points over at Notre Dame, we'd be 6-0 right now.
Right. Yep. It's frustrating. And there's no quick, easy fixes. Trying to do this all on the fly in this season's very hard. Like it's very hard to scheme to win this week while trying to raise up above it all and look down at other big picture nuance. Like that's a lot in the mix all at once, and it's hard to do.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and then from an offensive play call, I mean, you've talked about it earlier in your show. I mean, how have we not scored in the first quarter?
It's almost impossible to do. It's almost impossible to do.
Yeah. With the athletes that we have, with the recruits that we have, with the staff, with everything that we have in our system, we can't accidentally score in the first quarter all season. That's an offensive play call thing because like Kelly used to do, they used to run through a script in their whole first, what they were going to go with, maybe some audibles, but we can't do that. So it's just, offense. I mean, I think another 2 losses. I don't see them getting rid of Tommy Reese before the end of the season. I think it's going to be a handshake at the end, but it's got to be changing there though.
Well, we'll see. But for now, the problem is we have to find a way to look decent enough that these recruiting classes don't fall apart. Like that's one of my main priorities now. Like I've given up making a great bowl game and all that. Like you literally need to just tie this all together enough so that doesn't all tank, then evaluate all this bigger picture stuff. Like that's my roadmap now because there is no other roadmap. That has to be, that's the only map now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. You'd see all of that work that we have potentials coming in, all of it lost.
Yeah.
A couple phone calls that these recruits get from other schools that, have you seen the disarray that's happening in South Bend? You'd hate to see it happen.
Yeah. So I don't know, man, but there's a lot going on, and this is a lot harder than any of us wanted it to be year one, and my hairline's suffering, but we'll make it one way or another. We're going to be here, and we'll console each other. We'll do what we need to do.
John, I love the show, John. Go Irish.
Go Irish. Thank you. Give me a call again. Man, I'm telling you, you guys, Kenny, you're rough. I've been doing this show. It's over almost 2.5 hours, and Kenny's over here. Enough of this golf sissy crap. I've taken 30 seconds with 2 callers who each share a golf connection with me, and it's like, stop this crap. 2 hours of football, 1 minute of something else to connect with these people, and it's not enough. Oh, you guys are great. All right, last call of the day, 224. Give us some more.
John, my brother from another mother. How are you, buddy?
I'm making it. You sound very energetic today, more so than a lot of our callers. Everybody's kind of down. I like that energy. What's on your mind?
I don't know if it's actual energy or I don't really know. What's on my mind is all kinds of, a lot of these callers bringing up good points. You always bringing up good points. I will disagree with a caller from a few callers ago talking about needing to get a quarterback out of the transfer portal. I agree with you. It's a Band-Aid. I mean, that's all Cone was last year. He was a Band-Aid to develop what we already had, which we thought was going to be Tyler Buckner.
Yep. You're going down my logic path here. Keep going, because this is how I look at this dynamic too.
Yeah. So to complain about, he complained about how bad Buckner was in Blacksburg at Virginia Tech last year. Well, that's one of the hardest places in college football to play. First of all, he was a true freshman after missing 2 years, his last 2 years of high school ball. And, he was only in that game because Cone wasn't doing any good. That's why he did come in. So I still think he is the quarterback of the future, at least for next year, because I don't even know bringing CJ Carr in a year early means a year less experience for him in high school. So whether he's a 5-star or not right now, he'd be losing another year of experience playing high school ball to get him ready for college. But my complete thought is that beginning of this year, first of all, Buckner starts his very first game as a starter at Ohio State. Not an easy place to start. I don't care who you are. Your first start ever, that's tough. Marshall, I'm glad I was not home to watch that game because I probably would have broke my TV. But that is not all on Buckner, because I have seen and heard enough from that game. The defense was terrible. They didn't shut him down. So you can't place the Marshall loss on Buckner either. Our team has enough weapons and enough superstars, supposed superstars, that they should have been able to stop Marshall enough on defense that the lackluster offense we had was enough to win that game. So getting another quarterback out of the transfer portal for another year, and then what, you're going to do it the year after that, and then the year after that, because you're going to keep saying, well, we don't have an experienced quarterback, so we got to get a transfer portal.
Yeah.
You'll never get,
it's a never ending cycle. And
Absolutely.
Here's the difference. People can point out other schools that have done this, but you got to understand how Notre Dame's structured. A lot of those places are built where they're a quarterback away, elite roster, win now, just need a guy, can find one, like whatever. It's harder at Notre Dame. I still think those transfers are a temporary Band-Aid. Eventually, Notre Dame's path has to be tying the Freeman regime to the anchor that is an elite level potential quarterback that could get in young, be properly developed with the other young talent. And after 2 or 3 years of that, you have an experienced guy at Notre Dame you built, ready to win you big games. That's the natural path here. We don't ever have it.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Absolutely. I think we've seen some good things to build on. When's the last time you've seen Notre Dame block a punt?
Yeah.
Granted, we didn't do anything with it, but we did that.
Yep. And by the way, look who did it too. I love who did it too.
Absolutely.
Young guy, a lot of energy, a lot of heart. Want to see the field more on defense. Play good on special teams. I love everything about that effort.
That's right. And I think you're starting to see some of these younger guys now are filtering in. They are getting, and they're making good on their chances. Tobias is another, we need to see Tobias now 30, 35 plays a game from here on out, as far as I'm concerned. You got to take the blinders off of Pine, because that's what we're stuck with. But those blinders that he's wearing that only see Michael Mayer, those have got to come off.
Yeah.
He's got to see these. He misses a lot of reads because he is so focused. And I don't know. I wonder, they're roommates. Is it they sit there and, have conversations about, Pine just keeps telling Michael, hey, you know what? You're the only one producing, so I'm just going to keep throwing to you. You just keep getting open. Well, if he's the only one you're focusing on,
Yeah.
because he's your roommate, you know,
It's
I
like
think
the
there's- I think
ultimate,
that's
it's
part
like
of it.
the ultimate default is to him no matter what. Like safe throw, default, throw it to him. Like I'm so frustrated because there's just like 10 different things that are a little off that all add up to make it all look off, if that makes sense.
Yep, it sure does.
So what do you try and do this week to get this momentum flipped back a little bit, not look totally out of place on offense? Like, what could be done this week?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what Tommy's issue is other than he's trying to be too damn cute and look too sophisticated with an offense that we have proven we can run the ball. We can smash mouth football on the offense. And why he didn't do that this last week against what? Stanford was like 120th in rush defense. We should have ran the ball down their throats. And I think that's what we need to do. You know, the one fumble that Estime had, you know, bad fumble, but here's what I like. He was fighting and fighting and fighting. You know, he should have been tackled. And had he not, that little spin move got off, and it's because he's fighting for the yards, which I want to see. I don't want to see my running backs, my receivers getting touched and then they just fall down. So ball security has to be, you know, obviously the utmost importance, but I love seeing the heart and the fight in that guy. And how many times has he broke through and made spectacular runs?
Listen, his physical mistakes, the two dumb fumbles that are unfortunately timed on the situations on both of them, I still can look past it and say he has the type of physicality and mentality that everybody else should have. He could be a young leader on this team. That guy is built different physically and mentally. He plays with the physicality level I want everybody to play with. And I would like for him to develop into a young leader on this team.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you look at it, hey, that guy that made that play on it, that was straight helmet on the ball.
Yep.
It's not like he just lost it, you know?
Yeah, just hit it right out.
Well, it was a great tackle. The guy just came in right at the right angle and hit it. But regardless, you know, that little jet sweep crap that I don't even know why he would call that. You got Estime. You can need 2 yards. Run him right through the middle. And I don't know. So I think that's what we need to get back to that. All these crazy show off plays that Tommy keeps trying to do with people that he doesn't have to do it with, or he's got the people to do it with. He's using the wrong ones in those situations though. You know, that's your slowest receiver you're trying to run a jet sweep with. It made no sense. You get tackled from behind.
Yeah.
That should never have happened.
It's frustrating. I don't know. And so I don't know where you start this week. You know, do you just try and be physical? Like, there's no doubt the easiest thing that's going to help Pine the rest of the year is a good running game. If you could do that, it helps everything. The backs aren't the problem. Like, can we get back to that a little bit? It would relieve some of the pressure.
That's what it needs to be. It needs to be some smash mouth. You know what? I'll take 3 and out or 4 and out 4 times in a row if it means we are just getting physical on the line and trying to push. Because if you do, you know, you look back at the games we've ran really well, a lot of those, the majority of those yards have come in the second half because our offensive line has finally worn down the defensive front, just like they did with North Carolina, what they did at the end of the Cal game. That's when our running games really started to pick up because our offensive line was finally able to wear down the defensive line. So hit them hard in the beginning, wear them out at the end of the first quarter so we can do that in the second quarter, not have to wait till the second half. And then you can get those nice slants over the middle. He doesn't have to throw the deep ball every time, although we clearly have Tobias Merriweather who can get open. We've got Styles who can get open. He needs to quit focusing on Mayer when it comes time to taking those shots.
Yeah. Man, it's also frustrating. Do you have the feeling that I do, like when you're watching Notre Dame's offense and you just say, this looks a lot harder than it has to be?
Absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely.
All the time. I look at these other offenses and I know they don't have our talent, and they're making plays. They're in rhythm. They're going up and down the field. They're catching guys in stride with room to run. You know, they're finding soft spots in the middle of the field and like run after catch. Like, I see a lot of movement, and I just don't see it from us.
Yeah, I don't get it. You know, just a few weeks ago when I called you and I gave you that North Carolina prediction, I told you were going to have a stroke at the beginning, so we were going to go 3-and-out on our first set. And
that was right. Yeah. Good call.
Right.
Yeah.
And I called 41-27. I was pretty damn close on that one.
What do you got this week? I don't even want to ask. I don't even know how you picked this game.
Well, you know what? I'm looking at like, I'm only looking at like maybe a 21-24-10. I mean, we'll pull it out. I think we're going to win this one. Here's the thing. I think behind closed doors, especially after the Stanford game, because if you watch that, well, I know you did. You made a comment about it the other day. The look on his face leaving that field.
Yep.
You know he was pissed.
Yep. I noticed it right away when I rewatched the TV copy. Him and Mayer were the only two guys that looked adequately distraught, like they knew something really bad happened.
Well, I bet you Patterson would have been the same way too. 'Cause remember what Patterson did a few games ago after what Marshall game, right? Throwing his helmet and everything.
Yeah.
Those guys that know this is their last hoorah at Notre Dame, they're gone. You know, I mean, Mayer doesn't have to be, but we all know he's gone.
Right.
He's going to be a first-round draft pick. But those guys are the ones that really thought, because of all the hype and getting their coach that they wanted, they thought this was going to be a great year, and it's not turning out to be such a great year, and they're getting pissed about it, and rightfully so. The whole team should be pissed about it. But I have a feeling that the coach is in there, and I think now instead of being the player's coach, I think some of the coach is coming out behind closed doors.
Has to be.
I think it's going to be. It's more with the coaches. I think he protected Tommy. He made Tommy sound like he was happy with Tommy, but I don't think he's happy with Tommy.
Yeah.
He has made a comment where he said, you know, hey, there's times where as a defensive coach, I've told Tommy, hey, we need to run the ball in this situation instead of pass it. I think he's getting more comfortable now because he's seeing that Tommy's not making the great calls. I think he's going to step in a little bit more, and he's going to be a little more forceful with how that offense needs to run. He knows that they can run the ball. I think he wants to see that more. He knows as a defensive player and a defensive coach, the hardest thing to stop is a team that's got a damn good running game. And if they got a damn good running game, which I think they do, I think we all know, we've seen it. At times we have seen it. I think he's going to be more forceful with that. It's not going to be a high-scoring game for us, not the way it should. I mean, we should hang 55 easy. We should hang 55 easy. Second half should be our second, third stringers in there getting some time. But I also think we got to be getting closer to Angeli getting a chance to come in. If Pine keeps them blinders on and those missed throws, Angeli, I think, has got to be getting closer where they're going to get.
Man, it's just not a good spot to be. Then you're down to your third guy in the same year, Marcus's first year. Like, we're just not in a very good spot right now. That's what it comes down to. So I don't know, my friend. We'll see what happens. We got a lot to clean up. Let's just hope you get a win at Notre Dame, and then we can at least talk about improvements needed in a win, not a loss. How's that sound?
You know, I would love to, because right now I don't even see any momentum building towards next year.
Well, yeah, it was
We're
all gone
regressing
last week. You're
next
starting
year.
at ground zero again. Yeah, there is none. Nope.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
It's tough. So you gotta build it back up. You can't just fold and give up the rest of the year. Find a way to get a win, look a little better, and then keep it moving to the next week. That's all you could do.
That's it, and that's what we're gonna do.
Well,
get the win
thanks.
this week.
Thanks for the call, my friend. Give me a call again.
You know I will, John. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for everything you do on this show.
No problem. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Take care. Man, I'm going to tell you what. These porn bots are after me today. I don't know what I did. They're trying to make me forget about Notre Dame or something. All right, folks. 2.5 hours. We did another full show. I appreciate you all being here, all the donations, all the chats, all the calls. There is no show. Oh, no, I missed your super chat, Connor. My bad. Let me go. I'll try and find it. That's a bad look by me. I never want to miss a super chat. I hope you know I don't mean to. I feel bad when people do that. I just got a lot to maintain all at the same time here. I'm really sorry I missed that, Connor. Makes me feel bad. I'm not smart enough to be able to navigate all 4 of these things at the same time. So I apologize for that, Connor. Don't hold it against me. My bad. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Chats, calls, everything. We'll talk to you soon. We'll make it through this together, folks. Hang in there. Brighter days are coming.